Hello everyone, welcome to Court with Krissy. Here are 4 court shorts you probably didn't catch. And thinking collectively, they should have given that last guy a little caffeine. I hope you like it. Court with Krissy is now in session.
Ms. Costello, if you would unmute and turn on your camera, please. There you go.
Hello, how are you?
This is 26P0-176750. This ticket was issued about 10 to 5 on the 7th day of May. It was issued for car parked on 4th Street. You were cited for prohibited or improper parking. The specific allegation is that you're parked in 2 different spaces. And I'm going to show you a picture which I think was attached to your ticket. I'm going to put it as close to the screen as I can get it.
Mm-hmm.
And is that your vehicle?
It is. Can I show you a video of the other side of my vehicle, please?
Well, can you see the yellow line that's under your car?
Yes, I can. It's
Okay.
actually, yes.
What do you want me to see?
So what I would like you to see is the reason why I did that. So I see that I parked over 2 spaces. The reason being was because of the amount of space that was available. There was 2 cars that were parked in front of me, and on my citation, it said that I had taken up 2 spaces, which is actually incorrect.
No,
So
you
I
took
took
up parts of 2 spaces.
So I took up parts of 2 spaces, which is not specified in my ticket. And in the actual video here, what I did was I scooched all the way up so that another person could fit behind me. So I was thinking more collectively so I could make space for somebody else.
We're thinking collectively?
Yes. So I would like to save space
does
for
that
another
mean?
person. Thinking collectively means that I value thinking about other people. So I was thinking about saving space for another person behind me. And I'd
Okay.
like to show you my video that I took the day that I
Go ahead.
parked.
Go ahead.
Show you. So here is the space behind my vehicle. You see that?
Yeah.
So that looks like a full space. There's my car. So what I did was I was saving space so that somebody else could park behind me. And there's 2 other cars parked in front of me.
Can I ask you a question? Why didn't you park in the space behind you where you would have had a full space?
There was more space. So just like I said, I was thinking about other people to leave space
Okay.
for another person. Because in the parking spot, there were not specific slots allotted to it. There were 3
there are.
open spaces.
There are specific spots. That's why they have the lines on the pavement.
They were not specifically numbered spaces. So what I mean by that is that there was a meter that you could assign to a certain zone. And so there weren't a limited amount of spaces that you could purchase under that zone. So I wasn't preventing anybody else from parking.
But what you did was, while you were thinking collectively, you should have been thinking to conform to the statute. You were parked in 2 spaces. That's against the law. The fine is $50.
I believe that I was parked in half a space, and I also paid
You were
for
taking up
parking.
2 spaces, ma'am.
I was taking up half a space, and I can prove my points in
Whether
this
you proved your
video.
point or not, you were still taking up parts of 2 spaces. The line goes right through the middle of your car. You can't park on a line.
Yes, but with that as well. So here's
I
my
don't think you
ticket.
understand. The hearing is over. You're responsible for the citation. It needs to be paid. You can pay it in the mail, you can pay it online, or you can pay it at the courthouse counter. But you did commit the infraction that is alleged. Thinking collectively or thinking any way you want, you have to comply with the ordinance. You
I
didn't.
understand. And I understand that. And I understand the hearing is over. I appreciate your time.
Okay, then thank you.
This is the state of Michigan versus Jamie Javier Ruperto, 09-04485. And it looks like I have J047688. Appearance, please.
Ross Marchina for the people.
Mr. Ruperto, state your name for the record.
Jaime Javier Ruperto.
Okay, both of these files have been scheduled today for a motion to set aside a conviction. And one file, you're looking to set aside a conviction for domestic violence from January 2005. The other file, you're looking to set aside a conviction of assault and battery from August 2009. In file number 885, we did receive a reply from the prosecutor, actually in both files. We did receive a reply from the Office of the Office of the Attorney General, that is, indicating that there was no objection should the court find you eligible under the statute. Is the prosecution going to make an opinion today?
Yeah, Your Honor, the people are going to defer to the court in this matter.
Okay, let's see. Mr. Roberto, what have you been doing since 2009?
Well, I've been raising my daughter and my kids and my grandkids, and also taking care of, myself. I know I made some mistakes in my life, and, lately I've been having a lot of health issues. I have anxiety issues and back problems, and I had hip surgery, but I'm trying to do, or not trying, I'm doing what I can to, see if in my life I can change my, where I can, eventually help myself to get like a low income apartment. But I've tried to apply, and they told me, I can't do it because I had all this, these cases that were there. So I was, denied. But I've been trying, to file before, but before they didn't have, this kind of situation where, but that's all I've been doing, just, I got a lot of health issues. Let's put it that way.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear about your health issues. Outside of, what challenges you have with your health and the, I know you say you were caring for your daughter. Do you have custody of them?
Yes. Yeah, my daughter,
Okay.
well, actually, my daughter lives with me right now at this moment. She's 23. She also has, some health issues that I'm trying to help her with, and we haven't found out the diagnosis, but she's going through a lot of stuff herself. And me and my caretaker, she's been trying to, help us out. And besides that, all my grandkids come over and visit me, and my daughters, and they're older now, you know what I mean? And I have,
So you don't have
grandkids.
custody. My question was, did you have custody of them? Because you said you've been taking care of your daughters, but you don't have custody, but you have been spending your time with your children and your grandchildren.
Yeah, yes, they're older now. They're not, yes.
Right, they're adults. And so have you been doing anything else since 2009? And I'm not talking about right now and in the instant time frame, because I recognize that you're dealing with some health concerns, but prior to your health concerns, you have to show me where you've done some programming or some activities or something that you've been involved in that has been the catalyst for you changing your behavior. What have you done since then?
Well, I've been to the PATS program. I did get a certificate from Judge, I forgot her name, Claus, and I did, I did a lot of, what do you call that? I'm sorry, I have, anxiety issues, but yeah, I've been, I've done, a lot of stuff, like at church and with my, like I said, like with my kids, and, we help out, the community, where we, we do cookouts and whatnot to help, like the homeless. And, but besides that, Tabernacle David, right across the street from my mother's house.
How long you been going there?
I've been there like 3 years now, off and on, like I said, with my health issues.
What's the pastor's name?
The pastor's name has changed. What is his name now?
You know what? Do you know why I asked you these questions?
Yes.
Because there's 3 people on my staff, myself, my assistant, and my court officer. And
Yes.
two of us attend that church.
Yes,
One
right
their entire life. One of them their entire life. And
Yeah.
none of us have ever seen you.
Well, I've been there, like I said, I go there, like I said, once in a while. My mom lives right across the street, right at it, and we're right
We're
there.
familiar.
I visited there.
We're familiar.
Yeah.
We're just trying to see if you go there. We would love
No,
to
I
have you
said-
there. Not saying
I've
that
been there
but
3
I don't
years.
want you to tell me you go there just so that you say that
No,
that you went to church. You just so
No.
happen to say, I mean, literally 2 of us are members there on the books, and one of us is the cousin of the pastor. So
Right.
all 3 people in this courtroom have a direct tie to that church. And when you say that you've been going there for 3 years, it's easily verifiable, is what we're saying.
Yeah, off and on. I'm not saying I go there all the time, and I've been there. I also go there like when they do have their, the food programs where I have to get food there. But my sister, her name is Nellie Corso, She was a
we know
member
who
there.
Nelly Corso is. We
Yeah,
know your sister.
Yeah, my sister Nelly Corso and Josh Corso. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, because
Your
Joshua.
sister. And for that
Yes.
reason, I'll grant your motion. No, I'm just-
Yeah, they just
I
my
was gonna grant it
my sister Nelly. Yeah, Nelly and Josh.
Okay,
Joshua
okay, now
Corso.
we're talking. Now we're talking. Okay.
Yes.
Next
Yeah.
time you're gonna know the pastor's name because you're gonna get in touch. I'm gonna let him know that you called. You said you go there, so he's gonna be looking for you.
Off and on I go. I'm not saying I go all the time.
No, the prosecutor heard you. The prosecutor heard you.
Right.
There wasn't no off and on.
No, sir.
You're right. I'm trying to do as much as.
Those are the things that you need to rely on because I recognize you're going through some challenges. Your daughter may be going through some challenges. And we don't want you to find yourself in a situation where you're back into the criminal justice system because the circumstances, okay?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
find community, find structure, find something that's sustainable for you to keep you on the right track, okay? Because things seems like they have shifted for you. I wish you all the best with getting yourself situated so that you can hopefully get into some affordable housing. I do find that your behavior since 2005 and 2009 are consistent with the public welfare. So I will set aside both convictions. You are all set and best wishes to you.
Thank you, Your Honor. God bless you. Thank you.
Same to you.
Bye-bye. Do I just hang up? I don't know how to.
You're free. You are free to go.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. She's been her entire life.
Mr. Klingensmith, you're next
Hello,
up.
Your Honor.
Hello. Hi, so this is all about that allegation of speeding from April 21st. Any, ready for your contested, or are we interested in the deferral or something else?
Financial, from the financial side, the reduction's always good. My only concern and the only reason I did this was I was frustrated because the officer was just like, drive safe. And when the conversation ended, and I was a little put out by that because out of all the things that were going on, case in point, the officer in the case right before me, he like slammed on his brakes down and dropped from a 60-mile-an-hour zone to a 30 on the interstate.
Any testimony yet, and I haven't read their.
I know.
I'm just saying which direction.
I'm just protesting the safe practices of what State Patrol does.
Okay. So what do you want? Before we get to that, what do you want me to do about this ticket?
I would like you to throw it out.
Well, I can't do that without an evidentiary basis, or there's no evidence, or some motion that has a basis in law. So I can't do that just off the cuff.
Okay.
But
well, if I cut my losses and just take I'll be a good boy for 6 months. Do I still get to speak my,
The deferral is what you're thinking, that you don't get the other tickets. Okay, we can grant that. You've got a great looking driving record, nothing on it, your first ticket. So I could do that.
And the only reason I'm saying this is because I've been a Washington State resident for about 20 years now. And the very first day that I drove into this state, I felt accosted by a Washington State Patrol speed trap because the officer was I came over a rise and he was standing there pointing what looked like a gun at me. Yeah, and that was my first impression of Washington State Patrol. And I was coming from Arizona, where it's called public safety. And I've just been very disappointed with Washington State Patrol ever since. And I was extremely put out by the fact that he said drive safely when I've been driving Washington State roads for the last 20 years. And anytime somebody, State Patrol pulls out with their lights on for unnecessary emergency activity, which is pulling somebody over for speeding, it creates a huge safety hazard. And that just irks me to no end, just because what I was doing compared to what they were doing, if I had pulled out suddenly off the side of the road and caused that kind of a kerfuffle of the traffic, I would have been cited for reckless driving, reckless endangerment, and all kinds of things. And
So one thing
I'm
you have
just
to
put out.
understand is I can't do anything about the officer. I'm the judiciary. That's the executive branch of government. They're not my employees. I don't supervise them. But what's important for you to know, you should contact State Patrol directly and let them know this stuff. Yeah, in any way that you want to do that.
Okay. And
I appreciate, I think it's fair for you to want to just kind of get it off your chest here, but there's nothing I can do because I'm not allowed to, being the separate branch of government. But that would be important information to talk to State Patrol about. And then, the only way that their officers or troopers know how they're doing or not doing, or if they need some training or re-upping or something, is they hear from the people.
Okay, Your Honor, thank you.
Sure.
And I just, like I said, it on the 101, they're doing more speed traps, but they could do a whole lot more for, especially heading into Olympia, where the zipper merge is important, and that would create far more safety for people on the road than anything else. So, citing people for not zipper merging correctly would do a lot more good for traffic flow. So thank you for your time.
Sure.
And
so back to the deferral, since you're on Zoom, we can't get it taken care of today. By July 18th, make sure that you contact the court and make arrangements for that deferral. All right?
Okay. So if I just called them right now, would I be able to?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
You can call Scout Clerk's waiting. They can talk with you and get that organized.
Okay. And I can pay it right then and there too?
I think
or do I just need?
Yeah.
Okay. I will do that then. Thank you very much. And thank you for hearing me out.
Sure. Have a good rest of the day.
You too.
Good afternoon in the Nisqually Jail. What is your name, please?
Christopher Michael Ensko.
All right. Mr. Ensko, you are before the court for an arraignment in case 26L000949. The city of Lakewood has filed a criminal complaint in this case, charging you with 4 criminal offenses. Count 1, theft in the 3rd degree. Count 2, criminal trespass in the 2nd degree. Count 3, making or having burglary tools. Count 4, vehicle theft, or making, using, or possessing vehicle theft tools. The prosecution has alleged in their criminal complaint that all 4 of those offenses occurred today, June 29th, 2026. Ms. Ruiz, are you prepared to proceed with Mr. Ensko's arraignment at this time?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I have advised him of his rights, and I do believe he understands them. We waive formal reading of the complaint, stipulate to probable cause for the purpose of this hearing only, and enter pleas of not guilty, and I do believe he qualifies for appointment. Thank you.
Mr. Ensko, based on that information, the court is going to appoint Ms. Ruiz's law firm to represent you in this case. They will be your attorney of record today, as well as at all of your future hearings. Court is going to order the execution of a promissory note. However, that is subject to waiver upon the court's review of the eligibility screening sheet once that is filed with the court. Court is going to waive formal reading of this criminal complaint, find that there is probable cause to support the filing of all 4 charges, and enter pleas of not guilty to each count for Mr. Ensko at this time. Ms. Warner, what is the prosecution's position concerning pretrial conditions of release?
Thank you, Your Honor. Regarding pretrial conditions of release, the city would ask for a condition that Mr. Ensko not return to Lowe's, which was the alleged location of the theft. Furthermore, in looking at Mr. Ensko's criminal history, the city does have some concerns. There's multiple warrants for prior thefts from 2024, both in Bonnie Lake and King County. He's also, I believe, currently on a deferred sentence for a theft out of or from 2024. That deferred was entered on March 7th of 2025 and was a 2-year deferred sentence. So there's a number of prior theft convictions, 4 convictions from 2024 in addition to this deferred, and then some older theft convictions as well as the 2 active warrants in 2 of those cases. So given that, I do think some bail is appropriate. We'll leave the amount in the court's discretion, but I do think some bail is appropriate in this case. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ruiz?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. We're asking that he be released on his personal recognizance due to the allegation being nonviolent. He also was not aware of the warrants, but I did let him know about the warrants as they are fairly recent, both in King and Bonnie Lake, and he is able to travel there to take care of them. He's able to use his father's truck. He is staying with his father right now. They reside in the same home, and he takes care of him. He's actually in the hospital right now. He earlier this week had to call the ambulance for his father due to some health complications. He's actually supposed to be visiting him in the hospital to bring him some of his personal belongings. He's the only family that he has, and the only person to take care of his father. And so we would ask that he be released on his personal recognizance. He's also been going to treatment at Pierce County Alliance, and he's been going there for about 3 months. So we ask that the court take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Give me one moment, please. Okay. So the court is reviewing the pretrial conditions of release orders and procedural history under the pending felony cases out of Pierce County District Court, or excuse me, Pierce County Superior Court. It's 25-1-02-9389. It looks like as recently as March of this year, the Pierce County Superior Court had ordered Mr. Insco to address the outstanding warrant of King County District Court. It also appears at that time that Judge McBenneville indicated that there would be no additional chances given to Mr. Insco to comply with the pretrial conditions of release. Apparently there have been some issues of compliance with EHM and other pretrial conditions imposed by the Pierce County Superior Court. There's also been warrant activity in that case as well. The court has some concerns based upon the court's review of Mr. Insco's criminal history, the number of prior warrants, including the number of currently outstanding warrants, and also the apparent issues with non-compliance with terms and conditions of suspended sentences imposed by other courts, as well as conditions of release imposed by the Pierce County Superior Court on those pending charges. Court is concerned that personal recognizance release is not sufficient to ensure Mr. Insco's compliance and future appearance. So the court does agree with Ms. Warner that some bail amount is appropriate. The court is also factoring in that the offenses that have been, or the charges that have been filed in this case, they are nonviolent in nature. They are property-related offenses. But for all of the reasons that the court has noted, the court does believe that some bail is appropriate. The court's going to impose bail in this matter in the amount of $5,000 cash or bond. Court is going to set an in-custody pretrial conference date. Let's see, today is June 29th. We do not have an in-custody calendar on Friday of this week because of the holiday. So I'm going to go ahead and add Mr. Insko to this Wednesday's calendar. That will be the Nisqually jail calendar at 11 a.m. in the event that Mr. Insko remains in custody. If he is released from custody between now and Wednesday, his out of custody pretrial conference date will be July 30th, 2026 at 1 p.m. here at the Lakewood Municipal Court. That is a mandatory appearance. Given the number of outstanding warrants as well as the number of pending charges that Mr. Insko is currently dealing with in the Pierce County Superior Court, the court is going to require that he appear in person. The court will not accept a 3.4 appearance at that first pretrial conference if he's out of custody. Other conditions of pretrial release will include that Mr. Insko is to remain in good communication with his attorneys, have no criminal law violations, keep the court updated of any changes, mailing address. He is not to have any contact with the Lowe's store located in the city of Lakewood while this matter is pending. He is to attempt to quash the warrants out of Bonnie Lake Municipal Court as well as King County District Court prior to his next hearing if he is out of custody. Court is also going to order that if he is released from custody, he is to check in with Pierce County Pretrial Services that apparently are supervising his compliance with pretrial conditions of release in the Superior Court case. He's to check in with them within 48 hours of release from custody. Okay, court has signed that order. Mr. Insko, you can go ahead and let the officer know that your hearing is done. Thank you very much.